You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Hannibal After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Hannibal After Show.
What is this? What's happening? Welcome to the Hannibal AFTERBUZZ After Show. This is a party. What's happening here? Roy, what did you do to us?
What song is this?
It's we wanted that. We've got it going on.
Oh, we got it going on.
We got it going on. You know who has it going on? We do, because we were
Julia
right.
and Joe Braswell have it going on.
Way to move
Julia
that.
and Braz.
Welcome to the Hannibal AFTERBUZZ After Show. I said that already. I'm Joe Braswell. I'm joined by Nando Velasquez.
Hello.
And also by my dear friend, not my dear friend Nando, but my dear friend Julia Cearley.
Hi, Joe. Hi, Nando. Hi, everybody.
We are not joined, if you're watching on YouTube, we are not conspicuously absent. We are not joined by Mr. Joe Sanfelippo.
Isn't that just so convenient?
Dude
So
needed
what
a
was the
full
bet?
week.
The bet was that if he was wrong, he retires from podcasting forever.
Apparently,
right?
Dude needed a full week to just eat crow before he gets into one of these outfits. Look, I'm already picking outfits out for him. So for those of you who don't know, and a lot of you do, Joe and I had a minor bet as to whether Freddie was alive, and B, maybe Will and Jack were in cahoots with some larger long game sort of deep cover situation. Looks like we're right. Julie and I are right on both counts. Nando, by the way, you're wrong too, Nando.
I was wrong.
You
But in
don't
my
get out of
defense-
this fast.
but in my-
no defense.
but
He
in my
spent
defense-
20 minutes trying to make sense of why
No.
he was wrong.
First of
and
all,
why he was
I've been
right.
against Sanfelippo every single week until last week.
Oh,
I finally somehow got enrolled into his craziness. But really,
sucked in.
the whole thing was I wanted to play Freddy's Dead from Fishbone last week
Right.
for the theme song, and I was gonna keep saying Freddy's Dead just to play that song.
You're so
So
full of
I
it.
justified playing that song.
So full. I love
Freddy's
you, Nando,
not
but
dead.
you are full
You're
of
But
it.
Freddy's
full
not
of
dead,
it.
and I
And
don't
Freddy
have a
is
song,
very
and I don't
much
have a
so
song
alive.
called Freddy's Not Dead. So
Well, we're gonna get
I'm
into
fine.
we want to get into this episode, which was a great episode, and obviously with some great reveals at the end, especially Freddie being alive.
So alive.
That was one reveal, but I've been sort of like I've got a full week to sort of pick out outfits for Joe Sanfelippo, and
I was hoping you bring in some
I was
samples.
hoping
I brought in a couple there. I brought this little.
did you?
Well, I've got this little like a lacy model, this thing.
What's on the front
It's
there?
if you're watching on
Oh,
YouTube, you
nice
can
little
check this
ruching.
out because this is the thing. It's like he's got that hairy chest, so it's I want
Very
like a
Italian.
scoop neck for him.
Nice.
You know?
It's thoughtful.
I've got this this little lace number midriff number thing.
It's
Midriff.
midriff.
I feel like it's a midriff, so you can
he's
like
a tall
little lacy
man,
too.
deal.
He's a tall
Nice
man.
little embellishment.
I thought this yellow might really pop.
Oh,
This might really
that's a
pop
winner.
on camera for YouTube.
That's gonna pop on camera.
Oh, I could just see his chest hair billowing over those
and
ruffles.
kind
The
of like the
ruffles.
AfterBuzz, colors. So there you go.
And anyone else who wants to have to on
yeah,
YouTube
please
and
vote on
iTunes,
those
please give me
options.
give me some more options. I'm not done. There's a mesh number that I want to do.
I could pull a couple things from my closet
Yeah,
if you
well,
like.
I don't think it's not embarrassing enough. Maybe Nando's
See-
closet. Nando, you have that mesh
I don't know.
midriff you
my
have.
closet.
I don't know what you're talking
That's
about.
very true, Julia.
I don't know what you're talking
Julia,
about.
if you pull some, I wanted like just something like maybe see-through.
I got maybe a little lacy corset number that might
Lacy
look nice
corset.
on you.
Yes. Anyway.
Well, for all of you who disagreed with Sanfelippo, I'm sure you all are very happy.
Yes.
Maybe happy he's not even here this week.
I am trying. Okay, so let's get into this episode because we have lots to discuss here, including the very cool. We have another. It seems to be a theme here. This opening scene, the dream sequences here. It seems to be sort of it's happening. Oh, I will say this. This episode directed by David Slade.
Yes.
Who I ran into at the Apple Store. I name drop here, but
Yes.
I'm at the Apple Store and I ran into my good friend David Slade.
He's not your main man, though.
And he recognized me, and he's like, "Hey, yo!" So
He recognized you.
that's that's how I roll.
That's
would've gotten
awesome.
a
Streets of Hollywood.
And why is he not here?
Big time directors.
Why is he not filling
Yeah,
in a
why is
space
he not
next
Yeah, I don't know. He's got better
here?
stuff to do. But
Okay.
but yeah. So anyway, David Slade directed this episode, and it was
Killed
good to
it.
see him back, and he killed it as he
Yeah.
often does. So it opens with the very cool dream sequence, which I thought was very interesting. Or am I making that up? What's the dream sequence at the top, right?
Are you making up that it was interesting, or are you making up the dream
No,
sequence?
that's very
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Because
yes.
it was a dream sequence, yes.
It was a dream sequence.
You were not making that up.
The sequence was the stag like Hannibal. Walking towards a dying stag,
Yes.
it seemed, and I believe that was Will. Yes,
That dying stag was Will breaking free.
Will breaking free and
Right.
sort of birthing out of it, and
Yes.
and
Just like
screaming.
the turducken thing that we saw in the with the horse and the thing and the, but also like this is also the metaphor that Hannibal's been using about this sort of a cocoon and this the caterpillar becoming a butterfly, and this is also reminds me of Silence of the Lambs. And
Well,
so
what I thought was interesting was throughout at least the first half of this season, we've seen him slowly grow these antlers and turn into this stag. And
Yes.
we think at the end of last episode, well, some of us thought, Nando, that he had finally transformed.
Sure.
But now this is him breaking through those barriers
Right.
and still trying to retain his own sanity and his own manhood and be true to himself.
oh.
You like
Preach,
that?
preach, Julia.
Boom.
I like that.
That's the way I saw
Is
it.
that how you interpreted it, Nando?
That's the way I saw it.
Oh yeah, you dare not
actually.
disagree with Julia ever again. That's right. Every word is like exactly, Julia. That's exactly right.
No, it's exactly him breaking free of the stag. I actually saw that.
I get that. So, so out of the dream sequence, we have another very intimate dinner with Hannibal and Will, the frenemies, besties, whatever we want to call them. Creepies. And how about this dish? I mean, I don't know. I think I'd rather see him eat some people than the whole
Poor little birdie.
birdie with the
That was
crunch.
really interesting, that meal that they had. First of all, you see that shot of that little bird in a
Yes.
bottle, and then it was a fade in or dissolve into what looked like wine or being poured in, but that was being poured into the same. What we didn't realize, that was being poured into the same bottle that the bird was.
Yes.
And then the next shot was just this floating mass, which was the bird. I re-looked at this whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was just really. It looked really beautiful with the classical music, but when you realize what it is and you play it back, it's just so disturbing.
It was very
It was
disturbing.
pretty
Yeah.
haunting, and then seeing them flambéed like that.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And the poor little
Eat
birdies.
whole, I know.
Poor little plucked birdies.
Peeps. That's what I thought. I'm like,
you know what?
We just missed Easter.
I kind of thought that at some point. So yeah.
I thought, oh no.
Good going.
But just the
And
nice
then
crunch.
Eating them whole. Brian Fuller was saying in some interview, talking about that whole scene, that I guess in this traditional dish, you eat them whole with the bones and all, like Will said, and like it explodes because it's been gorged on this liqueur and explodes in your mouth. But then the little bones cut the inside of your mouth, so then it sort of mixes with your own blood.
This
and
is the worst
sweetness
meal
of
ever.
The bird. It's a delicacy, guys. It's a delicacy.
Oh, gross. Anyway, so that happened.
I'll eat pretty much anything, but I don't know if I can do
I'm
that.
not me too. I'll eat anything too. I'm not touching that. Again, this is more reason to stay away from Hannibal's cooking. Even when he's not cooking people, he's cooking some gross ish. So yeah, so that. But the significance of that meal was sort of this whole, it was like a rite of passage for Hannibal to talk to Will. It's weird because I feel like that we've been waiting for. If Will is on this deep cover mission and trying to get some admission, a full-blown admission of guilt from Hannibal, which he hasn't really gotten. Hannibal hasn't really said, yeah, I killed everyone. But the Abigail thing, I swore he goes, when he talked about Abigail, and I thought Hannibal said, I'm sorry I took that from you.
Yeah.
So is that an admission of guilt? Is that Hannibal saying, yeah, I killed her. Sorry, dude.
I have said all along that I think Abigail Hobbs lives
Okay.
somewhere in this world. And not at
she-
one point did he say, yes, he said, I'm sorry I took that away from you.
Yes.
That doesn't mean he killed her.
But it was,
just
And he
means he
but,
took
said-
it, but it's not an admission of guilt.
It was not. To me, it was not.
I think there's
Okay.
still a lot of there's still a lot of wiggle room in what
There
he said.
is.
Right.
So it's not clear.
All right. Fair
But
enough.
I still want to say he's dead. Just so I can be
Say
wrong
it.
again.
Totally
I'll say she's
say
dead.
it.
I'll say
I
she's
She's
dead.
dead.
implore
I'll say
you.
she's dead.
All right.
And
implore you to
Abigail's a
say
guy.
that.
That's what I was trying to say. No.
I bet you.
Abigail's a guy. You know
I've
what?
got a nice
Julia's
little
right. Julia's right. Julia's right.
ruffle.
Julia's right. I don't want to wear that.
Okay.
That might be my favorite show we've ever done. Just
Yes,
saying that
no,
right.
it's good. If you're not watching on YouTube, there's some stuff to see. But thanks for listening. If you're listening to iTunes, by the way, very quickly, thank you so much. We haven't said this in a while for downloading and listening to us on iTunes. We really appreciate that. You've always make us in the top one of the top podcasts here at AfterBuzz, and please continue to rate us and listen to us and download us. When you rate us, helps other people find us as well on iTunes, and we do read your comments, and we'll give you some shout-outs. And we know we have a lot of loyal followers and listeners on YouTube, and also as well as on iTunes, but feel free to comment and download iTunes as well. So thank you for all of that. But back to the episode. So at the end of this, so there's no admission of guilt, but they do have this conversation, which is sort of this like, the conversation seems to say we're kind of one and the same. We're together in this.
Yes.
And so then was it that scene they had the giant armed thing?
No, that
was that later.
That was later. That was
later.
the second meal later
That
on.
Oh, the second meal.
With the
Okay.
sheep, that was after they
God
discovered
and
sheep.
parenthood.
Yes.
That was after the tableau with at Freddy's grave.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, with the Shiva.
So we get into we're getting into this episode. So Alana Bloom, let's just start with her. She seems to be, coming around. She's a little slow.
It's still slow.
A little slow. I mean, but for such a smart cookie.
Well, in her defense, I will defend her for a moment. She doesn't know everything that we know.
Yeah.
She's sort of coming at this as an audience member as we are as well. Like,
Right.
she only knows what's put in front of her.
Yeah.
When we have the benefit of behind the scenes look.
Perhaps, but still,
Still, she's kind of dumb.
everyone else
But-
on the show
she's-
seems to know more than she does.
She's stigmatized.
She's stigmatized.
Yes, we know.
She can't help
Yes.
it.
We can't help it.
Well, I didn't
Happens.
say it first, you did.
All right. You're coining the phrase you coined, Julia Cearley.
She's totally
Yeah,
stigmatized.
thank you. But she seems to be coming around. She seems to be really suspicious, and she had to pay Will a visit, which was a great scene. And I have to break my arm patting myself in the back, but that was the moment I was like, aha, because he's giving her the like, am I? Do you trust me? Who are you afraid of? Who he's doing all those like things, but he just wanted to come out and say, look, this is a deep cover mission. We're trying to get
baby,
Hannibal.
baby, listen.
Yeah, like just say it. Like, don't give all these like riddles and
Innuendo.
and the innuendo and the gun.
Give her
Like, it's like shoot whoever you're afraid of, like, or whatever it is.
My
Whatever he
favorite
said.
was at the funeral. My psychiatrist said it would be. What did he say? It would be
Yes.
therapeutic.
I mean, just enough with the double talk. Will just tell her. But I guess clearly he's not allowed to. So,
It's dropping hints. though.
what did you think of that? I mean, any thoughts on the funeral scene and anything that you observed in that sequence there, Nando?
Well, just I love the interaction between Will and Alana there, and this seemed to be an episode kind of like the Abigail conversation between Hannibal and Will. There seemed to be a lot of double talk.
Yeah.
A lot of the killer would possibly come back here and
Sure.
and to the grave. Will possibly alluding to maybe it's him, maybe it's not.
Right.
Just is a lot of nobody really saying anything directly, which I thought was maybe a theme to this show.
Yeah.
This episode, just no one saying directly what they want to say.
Yeah.
So that's the main
Stakes are
thing.
high.
The stakes
are
are
high.
high. No one wants to admit anything.
I think the show is so good. We mentioned it before, but so good at these sort of like these one-on-one, mano-a-mano scenes. These two people scenes. I think that, like, again, this is the building blocks of what we know from Silence of the Lamb with Clarice and Hannibal. But I want to skip to. I mean, it seems like everything we see is. These two people. Like, usually, almost every sequence is two people in a room having these sort of long conversations, and they're fantastic. The best of them being, for me, in this episode, and there was a lot of them, but one of the ones I loved is Mason going to visit, Hannibal, like that the therapy session where he, Hannibal seemed completely exasperated, and as much as Mads played, Mads sort of did like a. He didn't do like a full eye roll, but he did.
Might as well have.
I know, but it was so
The
subtle.
Hannibal version of the eye roll.
It was like it was a swallow or something he did. I don't know what he did. I had to rewind. Like, what did he do there? Because, when Mason, when he gave Mason the chair and Mason plopped down on the chaise and leaned back, Hannibal gave a look like, But I don't know the look
Well,
he gave.
you know
but
how
it was,
intolerant he is to rudeness.
yes.
So
It-
I think his little hairs sort of.
But the fact
went
that
up for
the fact that we were able to read that, it was so subtle.
Because
But-
he's awesome.
yeah, he's good.
He's
very,
good
very
at the
good.
acting
He's
thing.
good at acting.
He can do some acting.
So, and then he finally had to ask him to come please sit in the chair. But how about this Mason versus Hannibal thing? Like, and the idea that Mason's a real piece of work. And Hannibal's kind of disgusted with this cat, right? Like he's, for all the people that Hannibal loves to sort of chat with and manipulate and have admire, and from from Jacob Hobbs to Abigail to Margot to Will. When Mason, he's not time for Mason.
He sort of seems like Mason seems like a tough nut to crack for Hannibal because he's so enraptured of himself. His ego is inflated to the heights. He's so completely narcissistic, and he has this, and it's all about this hero worship for his father. Right. That it's hard to penetrate that, to get in there. Whereas everyone else who comes to him seems to be broken. Right.
Well, he definitely fills in the void, the egotistical void that was left by Chilton.
Yes.
So when Chilton's gone, all of a sudden now we got Mason. So he definitely expands on that to the nth degree, pretty much. So very, very egotistical.
We mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. It's very cool to have Michael Pitt in the show anyway, but it's also very cool to have someone, bigger and badder and more evil than Hannibal. Like he's so big in this, and he's in with the tears and the martinis, and
it's over the top, but it works.
It's like super evil villain genius.
He's super Bond. It's Bond villain.
Yes,
he's a Bond villain.
The total Bond villain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very ironic considering Mads is most known for being a Bond villain himself.
In the first, in the first
Casino Royale.
Yes.
The sheaf cries the bloody tears.
Yes.
Sheaf. So I can ask you, because I'm trying to figure this out. So in the books, and someone on YouTube yelled at me for quit referencing the books, you're ruining everything. Well, sorry. The books. The books are out there. They've been out there for about 25 years.
We have the same problem when I do the Walking Dead show. It's like people stop spoiling the comic book. I'm like, it's been out for 12 years. There's a rule for spoilers.
That IP's been out there for a long time.
Yeah, there's a rule. There's a rule.
I don't want to spoil anything, but Hannibal's a cannibal.
Sorry, guys.
He ends up in jail. No, but I will say no. But there's in the books though, because Fuller is going a little kind of sideways canon. He's going off canon sometimes. He's going different ways. But and also we should note that I believe they don't have the rights to all the characters. It's a weird thing. Like they have They have to do some creative writing around some things. Like they have Red Dragon and all the characters in Red Dragon. In Silence of the Lambs, they have some of the characters, but not all the characters. Like they don't have weird things. Like they don't have Barney, the guard.
The guard at
the one who I want
Chilton's
him to cast
place.
me at. Yeah, I was like, Brian Fuller cannot cast me as Barney because I don't think they have the rights to him yet. Now I think they're still negotiating. I don't know how this all works, but some things have the rights too. So I think this is what's maybe causing them to have to. And we'll ask Brian when we have him in here. We'll ask Martha as well. But my point is Mason in the books, I believe, isn't he a pedophile? He's a pedophile, right? This whole thing is he was a pedophile and Hannibal got to him and disfigured him, and that was the whole bit. And I think that's that. And I've been really afraid of, which made me so afraid when they had that scene with the kid. I was like, oh no, this is gonna be it. And he was just kind of really scary and rude and menacing, but not.
And took his tears.
Made him cry, which is bad enough. But did you get a sense that he was going to do anything worse to this kid?
I didn't know that. I haven't read that book.
Yeah.
I want to, but I'm kind of enjoying being in the dark about
some
of this
spoilers.
Right now. Thanks a lot, Brad.
No.
Thanks a lot.
Either, so.
The idea crossed my mind, especially when she said, my brother is not good with children.
Yes.
That's automatically where my mind went to. And then we cut quick to that scene with the kid Franklin and him saying you can't go back to your foster parents. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Let me take your tear. And not once did I see a sexualization of the child in his eyes. I just thought it came from a completely authentically cruel place.
It's cruelty is his thing. Like, I mean, what's more cruel than telling this poor child no one wants you? Let me get that here.
Yeah.
That's
chocolate.
Ugh.
I'm telling you, I am freaking loving Michael Pitt in this character. The more I think about it, and the deeper we go into his performance, it's so nuanced and brilliant, and it's not quiet, and it's theatrical, but it works well because there's depth to it.
Yeah, and it's also terrifying though.
And I love him.
He's
awesome.
Well, I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't. he's scary for me. I don't know.
He's
but
really
So
scary.
what about the sequence when he met up with Margot and he's telling her about family and how it was, he talked about the heirs and heirs of the family, and he grabbed the back of her ponytail.
Ooh, yeah.
That was really that was
It did not
crazy.
sit well with me.
Am I missing? How did he know that that Margot is pregnant?
I don't think he completely knew. He had an idea that was planted in his head by Hannibal. Because in the next therapy scene with Hannibal, doesn't he say I don't know if she's pregnant now, but she's clever enough to get pregnant.
Right.
So let's nip this in the bud. But I think he wanted to see her reaction to get an answer when he was telling her that she has this rosy glow, that she's in bloom.
Sure.
And throwing all that out at
Yeah, because
her.
that was very much like he knew.
I thought so too,
Yeah.
but then he sort of said he wasn't.
And again, it's just another scene where no one's coming out to say exactly what they want.
Right.
But they're both like just leaving enough room in there for error just to be incredibly vague.
Right.
Although he was able to figure it out for himself, or at least he was paranoid enough to just say, you know what, I'm just gonna cancel. I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna make sure this doesn't happen.
Yeah, well,
Nip
which
it in
is
the bud.
really maybe he didn't know that she was pregnant, and maybe he doesn't know, but he will say that I'll fix it so
She'll never be.
Yeah.
she'll never be pregnant.
Exactly.
Which again, horrifying, and I don't know. It was obviously a homage to Dead Ringers. Nando, remember Dead Ringers?
No,
Jeremy
I don't.
Irons.
I don't remember that
No.
one.
Yeah, it's a David Cronenberg horror movie.
I did not see that one.
And where Jeremy Irons, I believe, plays his own twin, and they're evil. Either split personalities, twins. And there is a very, very disturbing. I think he's a gynecologist. Just a very disturbing scene, very similar to the one at the end of that happens in Dead Ringers. That you can, for people who know what I'm talking about, they know. But that was definitely an
Check it
homage
out.
to that, and something I never want to see again. So thanks, Brian Fuller, and David Slade for those images. So Hannibal, so back to Hannibal and Alana. That was actually a cool moment where we felt like that Alana was now on to Hannibal, that moment where she realized she's actually really afraid of Hannibal. But Hannibal is also kind of on to Alana, right? That very cool sequence where he takes her hand and does his keen sense of smell.
Oh.
And David Slade has that great close up of the skin and the gunpowder
Yeah.
rising off
Rising.
the skin. And Hannibal's pristine, keen sense of smell and palate. He's like, "Have you fired a gun? Like, who is this guy?" How does he know that he's fired a gun? But apparently he
I
can.
think that's kind of creepy though, that someone could tell you fired his gun from smelling you.
Yeah.
I think that's a little creepy.
Do you think she played it unflappably? Is that a word?
You're right, Julia. It is a word.
Like they made
Right.
out after that, right?
They made out.
Did they do it after that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Whatever it was, Alana was not when she came back. She's like, "All right, what's going on?" Like, because she was on to him then, right? Is that the moment where she turned? Do you think?
I feel like she was.
Okay, I don't know,
I don't know, but I think that was a turning point for her.
but for sure, Hannibal knows something's up. Because the thing about this is Hannibal's always one step or 2 or 3 steps ahead. We talk about this being 2 or 3 steps ahead of Jack and Will, and even with Will's sort of deep dive, deep cover. Do you think Hannibal? This is a question. Do you think Hannibal is like aware that Will is playing him? Possibly. Do you think Hannibal is just, what is he?
I don't know. I feel like he's dropping a little bit of guard with him. He's telling secrets. He's telling stories of his past, and he's sharing some feelings almost.
Yeah. We talked about the sister.
Yeah. Talked about his sister. Talked about Abigail.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he's engrossed by his feeling of pride for his protege.
Yeah.
That even that opening scene where he watched him eat that bird.
Yeah.
And it
Ugh.
was just this overwhelming, almost sexual sense.
Almost sexual.
Very, very sexual. Yes.
That was very sexual.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Sexy bird eating.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
I don't. Do you think? What about you, Nando? Do you think Hannibal's on to Will? Do you think he cares? And do you get the sense that Hannibal's just like, Will's my best friend now, or is he like, well?
I think Hannibal's always cautious. He still has this sense of cautiousness, but the fact that they have this, we saw it a lot last week's episode, this language they can share, they can talk,
Sure.
and at least Hannibal's unaware. He doesn't think that Jack is noticing it.
Right.
They could speak openly. about these tableaus that they're looking at, these deaths that they're looking at.
It's fun for him.
It's fun for him. So I think he's having a little playful moment. So I wouldn't say he's not onto him. I think he's cautious, but I think he is kind of in a very romantic way. He's falling in love with Will a little bit, and he's starting to be a little. He's starting to get a little dickmatized by Will, maybe.
Wow.
I think that's possible. I think he is getting a little enraptured by this possibility. One thing about the scene where they're talking about Abigail, and Hannibal's talking to Will about being a father. I really felt that was a very fatherly moment of Hannibal talking to Will as well. He's enjoying his role right now.
Yeah,
he really is.
Mentor slash.
So I would like to think that he is lowering his guard a little. He's still cautious, but I don't think he realizes how much he's lowering his own guard.
Yeah, it's very interesting that Will's deep cover tactics, because what this really is, it's a seduction. It's like Will is not. I'm just taking this whole bromance slash thing further. Will is essentially he's like the honeypot for Hannibal. He's seducing him and sort of like making Hannibal fall for him. I mean that in a not necessarily in a literal sense, but it's just,
you know what, Alana says that exact thing. She calls this a courtship.
Yes.
When they're at the graveyard with the Freddy Lounge Shiva pose.
Right.
It's a courtship from his benefactor.
Can we exactly? And that's what this whole thing is. And can we talk about that? The like, I missed that. Who did that one? Who posed that?
I think Hannibal.
Do we think Hannibal did that?
I think so.
I mean, repeat that. What's the question?
Who made Shiva?
Who made Shiva?
Oh yeah, that was a little confusing to me. I mean, the way they were talking about it afterwards, they made it sound like the benefactor,
which would be Hannibal.
Yes.
So,
but what the benefactor made it for his protege?
Yeah.
Or the protege made it for the benefactor?
The benefactor made it for the protege.
The benefactor made it for the protege.
Okay, because we know that Will didn't pose that up and do that.
No, that's just weird.
But maybe after this is sort of Hannibal's response to.
I was a little unclear at that too. They dug up Freddy's body.
Yes.
And posed the body into that shape. I don't know the intention for that. If anyone else knows wants to post like on YouTube or something. I was curious about that. I rewatched it.
Well, it also, I have to pose a question then. Who set the fake Freddy body on fire? And whose body was that, by the way?
Yeah.
If it wasn't Freddy's, whose burning body was that?
And before we started the show, you made a really interesting point. I know for those people who don't want to listen to analogies to the book, for a couple of seconds, just block your eyes.
Sorry, don't listen. In the book, in Red Dragon, that's how Freddy dies. He dies by being strapped to the wheelchair and pushed down a street.
Yep.
So when I saw that, I was like, no, Flippo can't be right.
Yeah.
No, this isn't happening. But Brian Fuller has said before that it's sort of like a Thomas Harris mashup.
Yeah.
They pull when needed. They throw it in where they can.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily, you can't necessarily take it literally, but it's a device that he likes to use.
Because we know that the Mason Verger and the pigs is something that shows up in the book Hannibal and also the movie Hannibal as well. So we're a little early for that too.
I feel like there's a little bit of a theme between those two deaths, I guess, or post deaths. So you have the Freddy body who's pushed down and on fire, and they said that fire destroys and creates, and she won't rise from the ashes, but her killer will.
Right.
So that was a moment where he was very proud of Will and sort of sending him up, and now he creates the Shiva, who is the destroyer and creator as well. So there's sort of thematic in that way.
There's very thematic. The whole flames being like the phoenix, like for destruction and for creation, and what's even interesting about all that, if you really analyze it to the first dream sequence, it was kind of like that stag was dying, and in that stag's death, Will was coming out of it and being reborn as well. There was no fire in that, but the analogies were all apparent through there.
Interesting. Yeah, I think, to answer your question, Julie, about the body, I think it's part of the elaborate ruse. I think it's part of the thing. I think this is a Jack.
Did he get the body from Jack? Is it like a body in the morgue at the FBI?
He got it from Zeller and Price, probably. Like maybe some because when they examine Freddy and Zeller's like, oh yeah, this is her. Like that's all for Hannibal's benefit. So everyone's in on the gag because obviously they didn't get Freddy's dental records, or
take
out our teeth and stick it in the dead body. So that everyone's in on the gag. So they must have gotten something, and Will did maybe set whoever that was already dead on fire, rolled it down there for the FBI to find, and then Hannibal's called in. We found Freddie Lounge. She's dead, and Hannibal's like, Will did it, and so so that was kind of we can only assume that that's all one big large setup, but. Back to why I'm confused about the pose, the Shiva pose, because then if that was the setup, then did Hannibal dig her up to do the thing for Will? That's just
and then later on when they're having dinner, the Shiva, you saw the stag with the arms come out too, which is very reminiscent of the Shiva. So yeah, that was a little confusing to me.
So maybe it was in response to Will doing setting Freddy's body on fire.
Maybe,
perhaps,
because that was a very Chesapeake,
little love notes passed back and forth.
That was a very Chesapeake Ripper.
The other thing, it was, and the other thing could have been like he just wanted to double check and maybe for his own sake, just see the body for himself.
Yeah,
maybe he's still possibly just double checking just to make sure.
Well, let's go. I want to go back to that to the second dinner we talked about when we see the stag. That felt like It felt like the two of them sort of won. It's that whole thing felt like, Will always saw Hannibal as the stag, and has always saw him as the one thing, and now he sort of sees him as. It felt like Will and Hannibal together. That's what it sort of felt like. Like the Shiva represents both of them sort of joined together. That's what it felt like to me. I don't know if that's what you guys got from it. What did you in that moment? What did you think when you saw that? Well,
she was also, like we said, the destroyer and the creator, so it can sort of go both ways. Who's destroying whom? Who's creating whom?
Right.
It just seems to be a bond they're both sharing right now, and perhaps they're, kind of like when you say two people are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Shiva, it maybe is that coin.
Yeah.
In a way, and we see a creator and a destroyer. I guess that's a little heady for me.
No, it's hard.
But yeah.
Well, we definitely see in this episode, especially in that scene, in their dialogue, we see Hannibal sort of playing. It's like he's taken this all to a new level, his playing of God,
right,
with his destroying and creating. And now we've seen it in the destruction. We think of Abigail, and then he creates in his
Abigail, destruction of Abigail. Let's say,
even though she's alive, whatever. To Will, or the destruction of Abigail, and now who sort of was a daughter figure to Will.
Right.
So he feels bad that he took it away. And now he's created a way in which he could bring back life to him and make him a father once again.
Yes.
But then he goes out of his way to make sure that's destroyed too. So it's just a whole new level of playing God and manipulation with all these new chess pieces that he has as well.
So I want to get to, I agree. And so speaking of which, I want to get to the thing that really tipped it, because all episode, they did a great job of sort of like giving us these little hints that what side is Will on. They kept us sort of guessing to the very end, even though you and I knew that Will was working with Jack.
Know.
But like the scene with Alana.
You know who didn't know? Nando. You know who else?
Flippo.
Flippo didn't know. I kind of.
Oh, stop it!
You kind of knew.
I was not willing to bet on a shirt. Okay, I was not willing to bet on wearing shirts.
So we talked about the graveyard scene, and we talked about the scene at the house when Will gives her the gun. But then later, the whole thing with Mason, that's
such a great scene.
It's a great scene when he, when he goes to him and is like, basically saying like, this is what Hannibal wants. This is what Hannibal would have me do. Hannibal's constructed this whole thing, so you do that. He tells me, I come to you and I kill you, but I'm not going to do that because the guy who needs to be thrown down there is Hannibal, not me. And that made me. That's when like Will is in complete control here, because Will's not going to. Because the murderous Will that Joe Sanfelippo and Nando were trying to, let us know that Will's just a murderer. He's lost everything.
He's not a hero.
He's a murderer.
I agree with him 1 week, and I'm lumped in with him. I can't believe it.
But like the murderous Will would have just
all
thrown.
It takes is 1 week.
Oh God.
Although it would have been great, I would have loved to see Will throw Mason into the pigs. I think that would have been great.
No, I don't want to get rid of him that easily.
But
I want more.
So we'll see how this whole thing plays out. We kind of know. But it'll be interesting to see, because there's some hints in the previews that Hannibal may be in a little bit of trouble with the pigs.
Yeah.
Next episode.
Looks like he might be.
We'll also see. We'll see about that. But that was a fantastic scene. Like the confrontation.
Just how we'll handle it, and then he brings Mason back up, and Mason does this quick turnaround like he's about to do something, and Will's got the gun cocked right to his head.
That's great.
That's a guy.
Yes.
That's someone who's in control
Yeah.
right now. Will is in control. You know, we've been saying how he's been losing control.
Yeah.
But I think that's a scene that definitely turns it around for Will, and it shows he's in control again.
Well, this is something that
Is that a parental response? Is that what brought him out, you think, of this rabbit hole a little bit? Is to have the idea of being a father and have that ripped away from him?
I think that has some of it, because obviously that was the motivation for him going over there.
Yeah, he was very.
But he said Hannibal planted this seed, you know, the same seed that he planted in you to kill your sister's baby,
right, or to make your baby,
or to make your sister infertile, was the same seed, is another seed, you know, from Hannibal, and I have a similar seed to kill you. Yeah. So we have a common enemy.
The only thing we all have in common.
The only thing we all have in common is our therapist.
Yeah, exactly. I get that Mason's rich and loaded, and he's, you know, the Verger family has, you know,
he's a Bond villain.
He's got so much cash, but I mean, does dude have his own like evil surgeons is like on standby?
That was weird with his own red
well,
frocks,
that's again the red. So that's straight from Dead Ringers, baby. They have the red in Dead Ringers too, but it's like, you know, if you're like, he has the OR, the evil OR on standby, and the evil surgeons. Like, talk about Bond villain. Let's come downstairs. I got my evil surgeons on standby. Let me call these guys in.
They could be his evil.
The pagers are going off. They're like, let's, you know,
right.
Where do you get these
He's
guys?
got them on retainer.
There was a whole staff of evil, right?
Yeah.
All the evil veterinarians, yeah. But I thought it would just be him.
A basic understanding, perhaps, of human anatomy, because a pig's anatomy and a human's anatomy are very, very similar.
Sure.
Did you know that?
No.
Now you do.
Okay, thank you.
Well, at least their hearts are.
But he had like 4 cats in there, right?
Their hearts are.
Okay.
I don't know about the rest.
But he had like 4 or 5 dudes in there, right? And ladies, they're ready to operate. So anyway. Anyway, so that was terrifying. We talked about that already, and that monologue and him, you know, he's a piece of work. Everything he's doing there, Mason, that is. So Mason's alive. We see that confrontation, which was great. We talked about that, but then the final thing with Alana going to Jack and sort of demanding answers, and Jack very coolly and calmly being like, I forget exactly what he says, but it's like, what do you think is going on?
What do I believe?
Yeah.
What do you believe?
Oh, there you go.
Sorry,
thank you.
I've been waiting.
You can't handle the truth.
That was very good, Julia.
Thank you.
That was very good. Yeah, but so of course he's down the hall and there's Freddie Lowndes. So
She's hanging out too.
Just happened to be there.
I would have thought at the very least she'd be like under duress because she's a journalist. She probably wants to report all this stuff. She's just like she has her own office. She's just like, oh, sorry, I'm just doing the TCP reports.
How was my funeral?
How was my funeral?
The shit-eatingest grin.
Julia and Braz were so right.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that was her line.
That was her line.
I'm pretty sure that's what I heard.
So yeah, this sets up. We're in the home stretch here for these last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So we'll be interested to see where we leave ourselves going into season 3, because we do have a season 3 pickup.
Yes, we do.
Which we're very, very excited about.
And
yes.
if it wasn't official before, it's official as of today, because today NBC had their fall upfronts.
Well, hold on one second. Let's save that. Let's go to news and gossip.
AFTERBUZZ TV News.
So Nando, you know, upfronts for this week. And today NBC had their official presentation.
Let's hold on to that for a second. Let's hold on to that.
Here's something happened.
Yeah, something happened. Well, NBC, this is the week in May when all the broadcast networks announce their upcoming fall schedules. They announce what shows get canceled, and more importantly, what new shows are coming in to replace them.
Yep.
And happily, we knew this already because sometimes the networks like to leak out this information weeks, sometimes months before, depending on the success of a show.
Yep.
Hannibal has made it official to season 3. We kind of knew that on Friday, I think.
We did.
Like Thursday or Friday, it was tweeted out, but it's official. It's keeping, as of right now, it's keeping its same time slot for the fall, so you could find it. I know, that's the only thing I'm not happy about. So Friday nights at 10 o'clock as of right now, but you never know, things could change. But during the presentation, that's the time slot they gave it.
Sure.
So they have a lot of faith. They have enough faith in the show to bring it back. Friday's a tough time slot, but you know what?
NBC is actually making some strides here.
Yeah.
They got a legitimate hit in Blacklist.
Yes.
They've got some legitimate stars. Grimm's a legitimate hit for them as well. And they've kind of taken that.
I will say Grimm and Hannibal do make a good twosome.
Well, not only that, they are making a move with this Cutthroat, with this John Malkovich thing. I don't know if you've seen this thing. They've seen promos for that. It looks fantastic. And now they have this new Constantine, based on the movie Constantine, based on Hellblazer.
Really
or Hellraiser or Hellblazer. I don't know which comic book it is, Nando. You should know.
It's Constantine.
I thought Constantine was a comic book.
It's a comic book, Constantine.
But it's based on, I know, but there's a, never mind.
Okay.
Anyway. Yeah, that looks fantastic. I don't know if you saw that trailer. So
I have not yet, but I can't wait to see it. Yeah.
The TV show, the pilot looks fantastic. So look out for that. So NBC's on the rise.
Yeah.
ABC not so much. ABC's in trouble, but this is a separate show for that. Anyway, any shout outs, Nando?
Oh yeah, I had shout outs up, but I was pulling it up to do this. Hold on. We got a lot of people talking last week, I guess, over the bet. Dave 1555, Raquel Costa,
Dave.
Melina Torres, Ben Hamill, Rani J. I'm saying that right. I'm clueless, and I guess Joe Sanfelippo posted on here. I don't know.
Hello. How quickly you turn on your boy Flippo? That's your boy. That's your boy.
No, we were right 1 week. Come on, I can agree with them for 1 week and still be enemies.
Right.
Alana V, Talia, Sarah 4 HP, Garrett Walker, Maya Larks, Dana Smooth, Maya Patton, Betsy O, Koya, Andre Vieira, Craig Thompson. Did I say Ryan McCord? If not, I'm saying you again.
Yes.
Juan Lopez, Mars Martin, Unlimited Taco Works, Anthony Cancellieri, Joshua Florence, Craig Thompson, Mr. Eka Zelena, Lovely Lady 1014, Misha HJ. Wow, a lot of people here. Zazu 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 X1. I love that one for some reason. I love reading that one. And then on the we got on the iTunes, Flash Cal, who loves this podcast but gave us 1 star because of Flippo just being very adamant the past couple of weeks.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So hopefully they'll raise it up now that he's not here.
Flippo's not
He's not here this week.
What do you see him next week in this with hairy chest?
Oh,
Jester,
that's gonna get 6
stars.
stars.
Oh, 6 stars. Jester Fox, AKSUXJD. I'm not even gonna bother messing that one up.
All right.
B Dubs 1971.
B Dubs.
And Hickstick. And that's it.
Hickstick.
Hickstick.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you all for checking us out on iTunes and YouTube, and thanks for listening, commenting, and we're let's get to predictions.
And now your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I just want to say again, breaking my arm, patting myself on the back. I wish Joe was here to hear this, because at the beginning of the season, I did say Will's going to get out. And he's totally lucid, and now that he's completely, Will is, a super mastermind himself. So he's going to put himself in a position to match wits and outwit Hannibal, no matter what it takes. And he did, and he's done that. You can see that super lucidity and clarity in that moment, like you said, when he had the gun to Mason Verger. It was like, oh, Will's in complete control here. And I just want to say I was right. My predictions. I'll start.
It was predictions, not patting on the back thing, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think that I think Alana Bloom is also alive, and I also think that we're going to see a little.
Alana Bloom is alive.
Not Alana Bloom. I'm sorry.
Abigail
Hobbs is alive, and I think we're also going to see a little more from our girl Miriam. Is that her name?
Yeah, we haven't seen her in a while.
I think Miriam Lass is gonna come back to do something for someone. Prediction.
I stand by my initial prediction that Abigail Hobbs is alive.
Yep.
I think Bedelia du Maurier, we're gonna get a little something from her. I think it's time she comes back. That's what I got. I'm ready for some resurfacing of my girls.
Go.
I think someone, it teases that Hannibal might be in a bit of trouble, but I think someone's going to get eaten by pigs next week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Brian Fuller did say when someone asked him about the finale in the season, he said bloodbath.
Ooh.
There will be a bloodbath, so we'll see. But we'll see that next week, and tune in next week for Joe Sanfelippo's big fashion show. We cannot wait for that. Julia Cearley, where can we find you?
Find me on Twitter and on Instagram with my name, Julia Cearley, JuliaCearley.
Nando.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Nandovel, Nandovel, and here on AfterBuzz with a bunch of shows like 24 later on tonight.
You can find Joe Sanfelippo at josephsanfelippo.com and on Twitter at Joe Flippo, and here next week in probably something very revealing. You can find me, Joe Braswell, at Joe K. Braswell on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter and Instagram at Joe K. Braswell. Thanks again. Thank you, all you Fanables. Congratulations for season 3 for Brian and the gang and Martha, and we'll see you all next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later, Flippo.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.